Okay, we are live, brother. We are live. Guys,
Absolutely.
welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. I have got a Let's Get Freaky favorite for you tonight. I am bringing back the one and only, the man, the myth, the legend, Aaron Wrigley. How are you, my brother? Welcome back
Man,
to Let's Get Freaky, sir.
living the dream. Living the dream, Tommy. You already know.
Yes,
How you
brother.
doing, brother?
I'm good, thank you, man. It's so good to see you. You're looking so good, man. I mean,
Man,
we saw each other. You was last on the podcast at Christmas time, and we
yes,
done the
sir.
Christmas special. It got a little bit wild.
Oh
Some
yeah.
weird things happened in the studio.
Crazy. Crazy.
uh, but you're looking good, man. You're looking great. How you been, my brother?
Man, been great. A lot of crazy shit's been going on. Had my skin removal surgery for my weight loss back in December. Had an emergency surgery the day after my first surgery. Got out of that, you know, smooth sailing recovery and everything. Did good. Now I'm looking good, looking all slim, got a waistline and
You are,
everything,
man. You are, man.
big muscles and
Look at
everything.
those.
Great.
You
We're
sent me
great.
a picture just now, and yeah, you're looking fire, brother. I have to say,
Absolutely.
sir.
And you can post that if you want to, too.
I'm
Look, I want
posting it.
everybody to see it.
And the
So,
freaky fam that are
a-
watching.
absolutely. Everybody can see. Because here's the deal. Look, and I'll go ahead and just say this real quick. Anybody out there that's struggling with weight loss, anybody out there that's struggling with anything, you can do anything as long as you put your mind to it. I lost over 290 pounds on my own. I didn't use any injections. I didn't use anybody at all besides a good friend of mine who gave me the simplest advice possible. Shout out Kenny Hyde. Hey, check him out, Kenny Hyde Fitness. No bullshit. I met him in passing. He told me the simplest way. Everybody was trying to tell me all this crazy stuff about how you had to do all this, all that, anything. He told me two things. He said, you just need to move your body and eat right. Guess what? He broke it down that simple. Once I started doing it, boom, lost it all. Right.
Yes,
So
sir.
I look this good now because of the fact that I did something that simple. That's all it takes. It doesn't take any extra shit. Right
Hmm,
now, if you
hmm.
have something going on health wise in regards that a lot that makes you gain weight, talk to your primary care physician, figure it out like that. But in regards to anything else, move your body, get
Hmm,
out to the woods.
hmm.
You already know I
Yeah,
just put that
yeah,
out there. Get
yeah.
out to the woods.
Most
I know
importantly, get out to the woods.
exactly.
Yeah.
Most importantly, get out to the woods, experience nature. Get
Sunlight.
close,
Yeah.
get close with God, get close with whoever you believe in. Anything. If you don't believe in anything, just be out in the woods.
Hmm.
It's the most peaceful place you could be. And it's one of those places where no matter what, regardless of what's going on, you can relax, chill out, have a great time, hopefully see some creepy shit, right? Because then you can come on here and talk to Tom. So,
Yeah, man.
but
Can
yeah,
I
so that's
can
a
I can
little
I ask you what happened with the emergency, if you don't mind?
man.
What happened,
Yeah,
man?
no, absolutely. So basically, because I'm tall, I'm 6'2", 6'3", right? So I tried to sit down in my chair after my surgery, right? A little too low for me because, like I said, I'm tall as shit. So I sat down, and as I was sitting down, I felt a pop, right? And I'm like, I don't know if that I was supposed to feel that. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna try to readjust. So I tried to readjust the chair, pop, pop, right? I'm like, I don't know how that's supposed to be. But you got to think, right? At the time, I saw nerve blocker in, so I couldn't feel anywhere, right? So all I'm feeling is like internal pops and whatnot. It literally felt like if you took rubber bands and just stretched them and popped them like that, right? So at that point, I'm like, okay, something's wrong, right? So I look down at my gauze and there's blood coming through them. And I'm like, well, that doesn't look normal. So, I told my people there and whatnot, and you know, they took me to the hospital and everything. But whenever I was getting into the car, because I drive a low car, like low sitting car, heard another pop. So pop, right? Felt it. Bam. So I was like, ah, shit. So then I get to the hospital and get into the damn emergency room and everything. I lay down on the bed, another pop, right? And just pop after pop after pop. And they ended up taking me back to get, I forget what type of scan it was. I think it was a CT, but they take me back there and I go ahead and get scanned again. And, you got to lay flat in there. Well, you got to think, right? Because of what I had, so stretched down and pulled in tight that I can't lay flat. So they tell me like, well, sir, you got to lay flat. And I'm like, I can't. Like, we got to try your best. So I lay down flat, pop, another hard pop. So at this point, I'm sitting there like, well, I'm, I don't know what's going on, but it's probably not good. So I'm finally get back to my room. I'm anxious as shit because at this point, I'm a hypochondriac. So anything like, look, I've been stabbed, I've been shot at, I've had guns pulled on me, all this shit, right? I would rather have all that again 10 times over than be in a damn hospital. Because the moment I have to go to the hospital, it's out of my hands,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, even whenever I was stabbed, I got stabbed here in the hand by a dude, and I just filled it with super glue and closed it up myself because I'm not going to the hospital for that shit.
Bro.
So I'd rather do that than have to go to the hospital and sit there and rely on somebody else's shit.
Mhm.
So whenever I'm in the hospital, I'm freaking out, right? But internally, so I'm sitting there like, like asking the nurses calmly, like, you think I'm gonna die tonight? Like, is this like what's gonna happen, right? And they're like, no, you're not gonna die. And I'm like, I don't know. And I'm laying on there on the table, and I push up like right underneath my solar plexus, right? I push underneath my solar plexus, and blood starts coming out of my waist. At
Oh.
that point, I'm like, oh, I'm cooked. I'm game over. It's done. I'm dying tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So whenever that happens, right, my surgeon ends up coming in there. Shout out Dr. Rubhausen. Like, man, Dr. Rubhausen, he's great bedside manner. If any, look, I'll just put this out there. Anybody in the Central Illinois area, if you're looking to get any type of plastic surgery done, go to Dr. Michael Rubhausen. He will get you right. He will help you out. He will make sure you're taken care of. But he comes in the room and he's like, so what's the word, boss? And I'm like, I don't know. You're the surgeon. He's like, okay, well, here's the word. You're going back for surgery. And I'm like, oh shit. And he's like, yeah, but we'll take care of you. Don't worry. And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you, doc. I'm freaking out right now. He's like, oh, don't worry. We got some good meds for you. We'll get you right. So they take me back there, and immediately they give me fentanyl straight to the hard shit, right? They told me, they're like, we're about to give you XYZ amount of cc's of fentanyl. And immediately I'm like, what do you mean fentanyl? They're like, not the street kind, not the street kind, the medical kind. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, fine. Give me that shit. So they barely hit the plunger. I'm not even kidding you, Tommy. They hit it with like that. And I'm like, oh, I started zonking out and shit.
In
I was
another
like,
dimension.
oh man. I was like, oh, this is great. I was sitting there telling everybody, I'm like, y'all are so kind to me. Y'all are great. Y'all are amazing people. And then I get back to surgery. They put the mask over me. They're like, go ahead and take a couple deep breaths. I'm like, oh, it's about to happen, isn't it? They're like, yep. And then I was out and just woke up.
Whoa.
So it was great. Great surgery the second time around. And then recovery was a pain in the ass at first, but after, the first couple of weeks, it was great. But I ended up basically getting cleared a month after surgery. And the crazy thing is that I was healing fast as hell. And even my surgeon, he told me, he was like, I've never seen anybody recover as fast as you have from a double surgery. Because like I said, I mean, I had my surgery so I had my surgery the 18th, right?
Mhm.
I came home the 19th, and then I had my second surgery the 20th. If that gives you an
Whoa.
idea,
Yeah,
right?
wow. And
So,
it was a big operation you had.
oh yeah, I had what? There was 18 pounds of skin taken off of my stomach, and it was a incision from hip to hip and 3 inches behind each hip, all the way back, right?
Mhm.
And they took what I think it was 36 by 15 inches of skin off of me, and had to pull me tight, right? I mean, it was so tight to the point where I had to hunch over. Now, mind you, like I said, I'm 6'2", 6'3", and I had to hunch over to where I was about 5'6". You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I had to walk like a grandpa. I had to have a cane, not even a cane, a walker and whatnot, right? So, they go ahead and do all that. And he told me, he was like, I've never seen anybody recover as fast as you. And I said, what do you think the reason for me recovering so quickly is? He said, honestly, because you're a protein powerhouse. All you eat is protein. But I intake, and I don't know if I ever told you this, I intake 240 grams of protein a day. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow,
So, like,
man. Yeah.
but it's because of the fact that, I'm consistently working out. I'm
Mm-hmm.
exercising all the time. So I have to have the protein.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm going to lose muscle. Right. Because right now, because they did a BMI on me too while I was in there. And I was shocked to find out how much I actually weighed in muscle mass. Because right now they said that I was 227 of just lean muscle mass. So not all the other shit. It was just muscle alone. I'm 227 of
Bro.
just muscle. So
Yeah.
227 of muscle. Because right now I'm sitting at what? It was 278, like 280 in that range, right? That's what I'm sitting at currently, right? So 278, 280 in that range, 6'2" to 6'3", and 227 of just lean muscle. So basically the rest of that weight is fat, organs, skin, and bone. So I have to have that amount of protein, otherwise I'm gonna waste away. So he told me, he was like, yeah, it's your protein intake is so high that your body's gonna consistently heal quick as hell. Like, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not flipping you off right here, but I
Bro.
cut my finger down to the bone right here, what, 3 weeks ago, and it's already healed back. So
Man.
I did that while I was cooking broccoli. I was in
That can be dangerous. Yeah,
oh
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
was
I've done that,
chopping
man.
it up, and all of a sudden my broccoli started bleeding, and I was wondering what happened. But so,
Oh
but
boy.
but yeah, so we're doing
It was a
great.
pretty wild time because we literally recorded, I think it was like 3 or 2 days before you had the
It was
operation.
quick as hell.
And you was calm. Like I remember saying, cause you said it was quite a big operation, obviously, and
Oh
you
yeah,
was really calm about it, man. And obviously, like that's the sort of dude you are. You're a calm.
oh
I'd have
yeah.
been freaking out. I don't think I could have podcast 2 days before that, But
Listen, I was freaking out on the inside, but I was calm on the outside. That's for
yeah,
sure.
that's how you came across. That's for
Oh
sure.
yeah, man.
Wow,
Just glad it's
wow,
all over now.
yeah. Because you sent me the pictures of it, and it looked wild. Like you looked cut up.
Yeah, no, it was fucked up. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
dude,
But
it was hard.
you're feeling fully recovered now. You
Oh
feel
yeah, I feel
you're
great.
back.
I just got completely cleared early this week, like 100% cleared.
Yeah.
So now I'm back in the gym. I'm lifting full weights. I just hit my personal record on bench press. So I just hit 345 on bench press. So, we're
Mhm.
getting big, man.
Yeah.
I
Nearly at
know.
my you're nearly at my level, bro. You're nearly.
Look, I just maxed out my leg press at 925. So
Let's
leg press
go.
is 925, bench press is 345. So,
Let's go, bro.
oh yeah,
Perfect for hunting the Sasquatch. He's
exactly.
ready. He's ready. He's back out.
Gotta pick him up.
Another thing that happened just before, so I believe it was in the week before we talked. You had that that
Mhm.
that weird dream where
Oh
possibly,
fuck, I forgot about that.
possibly, like
Yeah.
we spoke possibly about abduction. Some of the things you experienced were
Hmm.
a little bit on that line, like you
Yeah.
it was like a sleep paralysis type dream, and
Fucking
then
weird.
and then you woke up and you had a bruise on you, was it, or something, or you had
No, I had a
actually
hole in my wrist.
that was it. You had a hole in your wrist, like you'd been injected with something.
Yeah, I'm sitting there trying to see if I even have a scar still. No, I don't have a scar. But yeah, no, yeah, I forgot about that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Tommy, because I definitely forgot about that shit. Yeah,
I didn't
no,
forget about that, brother.
yeah, no, that was weird. Yeah, that was weird as hell. Because I still remember that. Because I sure did. I woke up trying to swing. Well, because I'm sitting there and everything's happening, right? And I'm not one to just sit around as somebody grabbing the shit out of me, right? So I wake up, ready to go,
hmm
and yeah, I
Yeah.
still don't know how to explain that.
So has there been anything else similar to that happened? That or
No,
that was it for that,
that
whatever
was
that was.
Yeah, that was it.
Interesting, man. Interesting.
They probably thought like he's gonna hit us next time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that, dude. I see what he bench lifts. No way.
Right.
Oh man, so what else has been going on, brother?
Man, honestly, so I'm in the middle of a, separation from my wife, but everything's going good with that. But I'll tell you this, right? So one thing that's interesting is that with all the shit that was going on in my apartment, right?
Hmm.
After she left, all of it left, which is weird.
So yeah, so you was experiencing some paranormal activity in the
Yeah,
apartment you was in.
all of it left. Whenever she left, everything left, like completely.
Whoa.
And one of the craziest things, and this is so weird, like, because I remember I always used to hear about it and see it's interesting too, because I'm a firm believer in the paranormal, as you already know.
Hmm.
But like, one of the weird things about it is it's like you always used to hear about, like, people would be like, oh well, whenever all this happened, right? Like, once we got it out, everything like brightened up, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like everything was light again, right? That's what it was like. Like after she was gone, the apartment felt lighter. Like there was more light that could come in whenever I had the windows open and whatnot. Like it didn't seem dark. Like, man, it was crazy. That apartment, whenever she was there, if we opened the blinds on a bright sunny day, it still felt dark in there. Like it looked dark. Like as if the blinds are still closed. It was
Hmm.
weird.
So it'd be like sunny outside, but it just
But
wasn't
yeah,
how you were seeing it.
exactly. Yeah, it was weird as hell. Like, how do I put this? You ever had, like, so not blinds, but like curtains that are see through up whenever like it's sunlight out, right? So it's not all the light's not coming in, right?
Hmm.
But then if you open the curtains, then all the rest of the light comes in. It's beautiful, bright in there, right? That's what it was like, but 24/7, even if there were no curtains there. It was
Interesting.
weird. Yeah, it was weird as hell. And then, all the shit that was going on and whatnot, where it was like, you know, all the paintings getting moved, with hearing kids crying and shit in the other room, all that, it left. All of it left after she left. It was the weirdest thing. Like, it didn't make sense to me until I really thought about it. I'm like, I almost wonder, you know, if they didn't, because they were cool as hell with me. The spirits were great with me. Every once in a while they'd move my shit, which pissed me off because, like, I'd have like a remote laying somewhere, and then all of a sudden it's like I come back and it's not there. It's like, come on now, like, stop playing with me, right? But that'd be about it, right? There was no malicious shit. I mean, like, I remember her telling me about how she would get yanked back into the bathroom by her hair and shit,
Hmm.
and stuff like that would happen, and the paintings would move off the walls and whatnot. And we hear kids crying in the other room, but like all none of that shit happened at all, right? And you got to think, the room that we heard kids crying in and shit, that's the room that before, like after she left, I started sleeping in that room as my bedroom. I didn't feel shit. And I'm able to feel that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like I'm back at my folks' place right now. In the meantime, before I get another place, and my parents' place is haunted as shit. I can feel shit here right now. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But like, even I don't know if you can see that. So that right there, this mask, right?
Yeah.
Have I ever showed you that mask?
I don't think so. I'm not sure.
So that is a Nigerian mask from, what is it? Like 1714, right? I have that one, and there's another one back there that I'm not touching for shit. Because the one back there, I know I've told you the story about it. So you remember how I told you about the African death masks back then?
I think so. I believe so.
That
We've
that's
talked so many times, man.
yeah, that's what those are.
Okay. Yeah.
So those are creepy as shit, right? And they have a lot of energy with it, but it's because they're old Nigerian masks that have been used in
Hmm.
ritual ceremonies, right? Now
Hmm.
that one, I'm not sure if that one's an African death mask or not. I know for sure the other one is, like, hands down. It's an African death mask. But like the energy here, it doesn't, like, I grew up around this energy. You know what I mean? And even if it's mildly malicious, it never really felt bad to me just because I grew up around it, you know? Now, the shit, whenever I remember telling you about whenever I was a kid and I used to see the shadow figure in my room with the red eyes and whatnot, like that shit felt horrifying.
Was that
I
in the
don't,
house that you're in now?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And I don't know if I ever told you this one actually. Matter of fact, so like the wall that I'm like standing, or I guess I should say sitting in front of right now, there used to be pictures all along here, right? And my couch used to be on the wall back over this way, right? So I'd be sitting on there and I'd be watching TV and shit. And I used to keep the hallway light on in between this room and the room or the garage, right? Well, whenever the hallway light was on, I could see the reflection of everything in that picture back here, right? I remember there was one time, and I might have told you this story, but who fucking knows? We talked so many times at this point. But I remember there was one time I'm sitting there and I'm watching TV and shit, and all of a sudden I look over and I swear it looked like there was somebody standing in the hallway, right? And it just looked like a black figure. It didn't look like a person or anything like that. It just looked like a black figure standing there. And I'm like, huh, I'm gonna try to see if I can see this son of a bitch with my eyes, right? So I stand up and I start, getting ready to walk over there. I look back at the picture again, and it's, like I see it shoot up the stairs and like start creeping behind and like looking around the corner, right? And I'm like, okay, now it knows that I'm coming. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching it in the picture while I'm creeping over, just slowly creeping, slowly creeping, right? And right as I get ready to turn, I look and there's nothing there, right? So it used to be shit like that, and
Could you see a face on that? Could you
no,
see like it was
nope,
just a
nothing.
black mass?
There's a black, literally, like, is it? How do I put this? Picture like a fuzzed out version of like a crossing sign, like figure. You know what I mean? Like,
Buzzed.
yeah, like fuzzed out, like where it's like not like perfect fucking lines type deal, like where it's not like
Ooh.
an exact, like, how do I put this? Like, cause like the crossing sign people, right? Like where it's like a black stick figure almost like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Picture that, but where it's more fuzzed out on the edges. It's not like pure like exact lines. It's almost like as if I took like an eraser and like shaded it in a little bit, right?
Ah, I see. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for all my artists out there, anybody that takes like a charcoal painting or picture and they take their finger or a shading tool and they shade it in around the edges so it kind of blends in a little bit more. That's what it looked like.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've had that here. I've
What do you
had
what do you think that was? Like, I know we don't
shit.
know, but what do you think?
I don't know, some sort of energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for me because, like, I want to always put my mind into it and be like, well, I wonder if it was this or I wonder if it was that. But it's like, who knows?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
I. It's like whenever people have asked me before, because everybody knows I'm the Bigfoot guy, right? But people ask me before, like, what do you think Bigfoot is? I have no idea. You know, I have some speculations on what I think it is.
Hmm. Hmm.
That was weird. The door started opening right there. Strange
Oh, here we
noise.
go.
But
Mate, weird things happen.
oh no, it's just my cat.
Are you
But
sure?
yeah, right. But it's like I don't know. I want to be like, oh well, I know that it's this or I know that it's that. I
Hmm.
don't know.
I just
I
I
bought.
just think that sometimes we like it's difficult when you have these experiences, but
Oh yeah,
sometimes like I'll tell you something that I experienced the other day.
yeah,
And I think sometimes you have to listen to your gut with what you're experiencing. And sometimes, like, because we don't know what this stuff is, but if
yeah,
you see something and you're like, oh, that's a shadow figure, and like that's what like you feel that's what it is. I feel like there's something to that.
yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like for example, this I don't know if I've shared this on the podcast yet. I've shared it on other podcasts that I've been on,
Okay.
but this literally happened a couple of weeks ago. And I still am a little bit like, I don't really know what it was. I've experienced a lot of weird stuff. And as I was telling you before, there's been quite a lot of since before Christmas and a little bit after, there was a lot of weird stuff going on in the house where I had to pray out loud, and I felt like it was getting dark. I felt like we was
Yeah.
spiritually being attacked, and the whole family wasn't happy about it, and I had to do something about it. And in my mind, that is pray, and that helps me. But so not a lot of stuff's happened since I've done that, to be honest. So which is good. But literally 2 weeks ago. I just finished, I think I was recording an episode or I was doing something to do with the podcast. And whenever I finish recording or if I'm working on the show or whatever, I can't just go to bed straight away after. It's normally about
Yeah.
3, 4 o'clock in the morning, UK time. And I can't just switch off. I have to go downstairs, have a tea or whatever.
You gotta
I have
decompress.
to
Yeah.
decompress and relax, yeah. And so I just finished whatever I was doing, and it was getting to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I was like, you know what? I better go to bed, because the kids are going to be up for school soon, and
Oh yeah.
I'm not going to get a proper sleep if I don't try and sleep now. So I went to bed even though I wasn't tired. So it was like I think it was like 4 or 5, maybe half 4, whatever it was. And I've gone into my room, and two of my kids are in bed with my wife, and I'm like, oh, I can't. I'm not going to wake them up now and move them.
Yeah.
And
No.
so I was like, I'm just going to set up a little bed on the floor, and I'm going to, just sleep on the floor tonight for a couple of hours before they get up. So
Yeah.
I'm laying there totally awake. I wasn't ready for bed. I could have stayed up, to be honest. And, no lights are on in the room. When the wife's in there, I don't mind it if it's dark. I know
Oh yeah.
I told you before I don't like being in the dark, but if the wife's
Yeah.
in the room, then I'm okay. So I'm laying there and it's pitch black and there's nothing going on. I'm just laying back, not thinking about anything weird or anything like that. And all of a sudden, this light comes out of nowhere and sort of like flies around the room.
Mm.
And it was like a gold color. And it was like long. It was only a small light, but it was like long, like a long sort of shape, but only small.
Yeah.
And it sort of flew around the room. And I saw it, and I was like, "What the heck is that? What the heck is?" And I followed it around the room. What is that? And in my mind, straight away, I was like, "That's a fairy. I've just seen a fairy." And I know that sounds mad, and I'm
No, not at all.
talking about crazy stuff all the time, obviously, and always talking about fairies and all sorts of cryptids and
Yeah.
stuff. So that stuff is in my mind, but it was just like, and I'm not saying it was a fairy, but
Yeah.
it just felt like that.
That's what it felt like. Yeah.
So I feel like there's something to that feeling. But I'm looking around and I'm trying to debunk whatever this is. So I'm like looking at my phone, phone's off, like phone's not done that, you know. That's the only light source I've got near me. There's the curtains are shut, the blinds are down, so there's no car lights coming in. This wasn't a car light. So I'm just sitting there like I wasn't scared, but I was just the heart's beating because you've just seen something strange.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I don't know what that was, man, but it felt like in my mind I was like I've just seen a fairy. Um, and
Man.
I'm just at a point now where if something like that happens, I'm just going to say it, and it is what it is. I'm not saying it definitely was a fairy, but I spoke
But that's
to
what you felt.
yeah, yeah, and I spoke to JJ Rose. She's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
She's a lovely lady. I,
Yeah.
I, I tell her a lot of my experiences when I see and experience something like that, and she said she's experienced that as well. She's been seeing stuff like that, and lots of people have been getting in touch with her saying that they've seen similar sort of lights. And I just find that interesting as well, that it
Well,
seems to be quite a.
you know, what's interesting as hell, right? Do you remember me telling you about the light rod that I saw whenever I was working at the conservation district? Did I tell you about that?
You have to remind me, brother. You may have done.
Okay. So, no bullshit, right? I just tell a story just for anybody that's, tuning in now. I remember, so we used to have to, whenever I was at the conservation district, I would have to basically go check all the trails. And I'd take the side by side down some and I'd walk others, right? Well, this one is way back into the back of the property where we had, and I'm taking a side by side down there, and we come down. Well, I come down the hill, right? And as I'm coming down, you know, and I'm paraphrasing the shit out of this story, but you know, I kind of something tells me like look over to the right, right? So I look over to the right, and I see what literally looks like picture a lightsaber, or better yet, like a fluorescent light bulb, about the same size, like I'd say probably like that, right? Like probably 3 foot wide, right?
Hmm.
It literally like bluish white light, this light rod that flies at like this speed, right? Like that. And it goes behind 3 trees, and on the fourth tree that it goes behind, it doesn't come out the other side. So it's basically like, if I give you an idea, like it'd be like this. So it'd be coming through like that and doesn't come out the other side, right?
Hmm.
And
So for the listeners, that's quite slow. That's not a fast moving thing. Is
yeah,
that
no,
right?
no.
Yeah.
I'd say probably like, I'm trying to figure out like a walking pace. Like
Hmm.
you could easily consider that a walking pace.
Yeah.
But it was strange. Like it was weird how that happened and whatnot. Because like it, and it didn't feel malicious. It didn't feel bad or anything like that. It just felt weird, right?
Hmm.
Back there, it always feels weird as hell. I mean, it's quiet as shit. There's no real animals out there or anything like that. You can hear the frogs in the distance, but there's nothing there, right? So it's a strange place back there, and it just sounds, I don't know, it just sounds similar to that almost. But
Mm.
even then, it's like, I remember I told you about how I saw the will o wisps. You remember that story?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, because I remember I got out of the shower and I walked into my room here at this house, actually, right? And I walked into the room, and as I walked in, I saw the 3 balls of light start doing this around the center light and whatnot. And then they came towards me and just disappeared. But it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I still, to this day, it was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, hands down.
Hmm.
So,
And that was in your yard. That was in the
oh, that
backyard.
was right in my room.
Oh, that was in your room.
Yeah. Yeah, because I came right out of the shower and I went over in my room, walked in there, and boom, they're right there in the darkness. I see 3 blue lights, sitting there. And there's one in the center, two on each side, and they went like this, right? And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, and like, because this happened a minute ago, and they came back down like that, and then came towards me. And as they came towards me, no, 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 they came together, I believe. I don't know. For the listeners listening, y'all have to listen back to the old podcast and figure out exactly what the fuck happened. But basically, more or less, I remember either they split at some point or they came back together and they came towards me and then just kind of faded away. But they looked
Hmm.
like almost like a milky, bluish color.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Man.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I think
so
I
I don't
remember
know.
you saying that the color was like something that you couldn't even describe the color like fully.
Yeah, no, it was
Something
like a
like in there.
weird, like this weird, almost like sky blue, but like translucent, but like milky. It was weird. It
Yeah.
was weird as hell.
Yeah, man.
So I don't know.
It's
I
interesting because I've talked to people that see like fairy lights. So when they've been in like the forest, I say fairy lights, we don't know what
yeah,
they are. All black lights, and I've spoken to people that have got close to these lights and they've actually seen like little bodies inside them,
yeah.
which I find really interesting, man.
Well,
I think
man,
they're out there.
oh,
Yeah.
they're definitely out there. I mean, look, right? So like, you even look at my tattoos, right? So it's like I got, like, so obviously, very, very Irish heritage,
Hmm.
but I have my leprechaun here, right? I have, oh, where is she? My banshee here, right? But on here, one of the most famous fairies, because a lot of people don't even realize he's a fairy, is the Dolhan, right? Or the headless horseman, because the headless horseman is technically in the Irish folklore fae or fairy, right?
Hmm.
And they're real, and if they're not, right, then how do you explain what people are seeing?
Hmm. Oh,
Because
for
it's
sure, man.
it's the same as whenever you have people that try to discredit all the other shit, right? It's just how it is. People,
Hmm.
if people are seeing it, there's obviously something there,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, for sure. I
And
mean,
I'll go ahead.
what I saw a couple of weeks ago. I can't say it was a fairy, but it gave me that feeling. It was
Yeah,
like a tiny little golden light that was like long. It looked like a Tinkerbell. I'll just say
yeah.
that. It looked like a if
Well,
you were going to see a Tinkerbell light, that is how it kind of looked. And yeah, I didn't see a little body or figure or anything like it. It was just a light, but it was like a golden color. And it was just really strange. How it made me feel was really strange as well. And I saw it and I followed it around the room and I just got that vibe. and
Man, see, look, it's interesting because like I remember I'm trying to find the name of this book. So there's a man who basically he devoted his entire life to studying real life fairy accounts. And I can't remember the name of his book for the life of me. Hold on, let me see here.
well, I mean, in especially in the UK as well, like the fairy lore and the traditions and the you know the legends and the myths and stuff like that. When it comes to
Yeah.
fairies, is huge, and it's all around the world. This stuff is all around the world. Sometimes it might be called something different, but it's the same thing that people are experiencing.
Well, and the crazy thing is it's crazy how many are seen in the UK and
Hmm.
in Ireland and in Scotland and all these places and whatnot. It's just crazy
Hmm.
how much is being seen there. Trying to find this book. Let me see here. Whatever I find it, I'll send it to
Send it
you.
over, brother. Yeah, man.
Yeah, because there's a PDF that you can find of it and whatnot. So let me see here also. So my tablet's about to die. Are we able to switch over to my phone by chance?
Yeah, of course. Do you want me to? I'll stop recording for a second.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
go ahead and do that, and then we'll switch over to my phone.
Okay. No worries, brother. Okay, we're back. We're back. The magic of technology. We are
A
back.
little bit of technical difficulty.
Pretty much the same view,
Oh
pretty
yeah,
much the same sound, but on a different device. It's magic, man. You know,
man. Look, God is good, and
100%.
technology can be shitty.
You know,
So,
it can be amazing and it can also be a nightmare.
oh yeah,
It's
man.
just we were saying, that's never happened to your tablet before. Talking
Yeah,
about
no.
freaky stuff. The last time we talked, a pretty cool thing happened on camera
Oh yeah.
for the people that watch on YouTube. There was an object seen go across my screen that was very strange, man. It was very strange at the time. I didn't think much of it at the time. You saw it. I didn't see it. And I didn't even see it. I even because I put the videos out on YouTube and I don't watch the videos back. They just go out on YouTube as they are. I don't edit them or anything like that. So I didn't watch it back, and I was getting messages saying, "Watch on minute 38, whatever it was. What is that? What is that?" And I looked back because I remember you saying it, but I didn't think much of it after, And
Oh
obviously
yeah.
I do when it comes to like editing and stuff. I concentrate more on the audio for Spotify and Apple Podcasts and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And that's only taking out like long pauses and stuff. I don't really touch that either too much. But yeah, so I didn't look back, and then I looked back and I saw this, you see this white misty object walk across the screen. It's
Man.
very strange.
I look, I still remember because I paused. I was like, "Yo, hold on now. What was that?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Well, what did you see?" And I'm like, and I told you about it, and it's like, I don't look. And then all that shit, because everything else that was going on in your place too,
Hmm.
all the same. It was all around the same time, and then the shit that you just told me about recently too. It's like everything, all of it's happening all around the same within months of each other type deal.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. We were having a period where it was getting intense. Like there was a lot of
yeah,
things happening. And for me, I've always experienced stuff and seen stuff, and I find it quite obviously find it interesting. But when the kids start getting scared and the wife starts getting scared, I'm like, okay, we gotta sort this
you
out.
got to figure something out. Yeah.
And as I said to you, the power of prayer, I think that works for me, and the intent there, and that has stopped it. Whatever was happening, it felt like an attack in a weird way. It felt like a spiritual
Oh
attack,
yeah.
and I know obviously these conversations are super interesting, but there is a dangerous side to it as well.
Oh,
I do think
absolutely.
you call on you look into the paranormal, it looks back, and that can be dangerous. And I think it was getting to that stage where it was quite worrying for me, to be honest.
Man, well, and see, that's the thing, right? Is it's like it's the same whenever people mess with Ouija boards. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You gotta have, but see, that's I don't know. Like, do you take time whenever you're decompressing after a podcast to just kind of close back off of all the shit that you discussed?
I
Like, is that
try.
what you're doing in that point?
I try to, yeah, yeah. I
Okay,
don't think
because
too much about it. Like, I'll watch another show that's nothing to do with
well,
paranormal
because
stuff.
I'm almost wondering if you shouldn't, after every podcast, almost, you know, kind of say a little prayer. Just kind of be like, hey, like, listen,
Hmm.
like, well, we had a great podcast tonight, but, at this point, I just want to, make everything clear. Like, you are not welcome here, right? I appreciate you, and I wish you the best, but you're not welcome here, right? Because at that point, right? I mean, it's just like I said, it's the same thing as after a Ouija board. Now, granted, do I fuck a Ouija board? Hell no. I do not mess with that shit
Nah,
because who knows what's on the other side trying to come out. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's like I don't mess with that. But it's at the same time though, where it's like you got to be able to know when to close it off
Hmm.
because who knows what the fuck coming out?
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
anything can come out.
Yeah. Oh, for sure,
So.
man. Yeah. I mean, I've definitely had since doing Let's Get Freaky, weird stuff has happened, which I think is related to the show.
Oh,
A
absolutely.
100%. I don't think I'd be having as many experiences and stuff. As I say, I've always been fascinated by it and interested by it, and I've always had experiences. But when you're immersed in it like we are, man, there's so much weird stuff going on, noises, and I know not everything that happens in the house that we think is paranormal. I don't think everything's paranormal. I know I do get very excited and I do jump to the paranormal quite a lot, but there's a lot of stuff that happens that there's no explanation. There's
No.
no explanation. Like I had a tapping in this room that was so loud and so intense and for so long, and there was nothing in here, man. It was nothing. I couldn't work out what it was. There was nothing had fallen, which is what I thought had happened. Something was fallen and bounced, but so just loads of stuff, loads of weird stuff. So you're right. I
Man,
do think you need to.
you got to close that door. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? Because like even that shit weirded me out for a second. I
Oh
looked
no.
into the hallway and my cat was looking back at me, but like it was like glowing eyes. I was like, oh shit. Uh it's just so yeah, how calm I can appear on the outside.
Yeah.
But man, I was sitting there looking, I was like, oh, what the hell is that? Talking about closing shit off.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no. So, but that's the best thing you can do, honestly, is
Mhm.
just close that gateway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because with all the shit and all the people that you talk to and the beautiful people, right? But
Oh yeah.
with those types of stories, they carry energy, they carry weight with them. You know what I mean? So to be able to close those off, be able to shut that door out, right? It's the same thing as whenever, you know, to give you an idea, right? Whenever you're talking about trauma and whatnot, you got to do the same thing, right? Like if I started telling you, about some of the things that have happened in my life, some of the things that I've dealt with, every time that I've spoken to you about that, every time I speak to that shit about anybody, right? I have to close it off. Otherwise, it follows me in, right? Because you got to think, if I'm sitting there and I'm reliving these moments and all that energy that I dealt with in those moments, it comes back.
Hmm.
Right? It's the same reason why you have people that have, trauma attacks and have anxiety attacks and have all these things, right? It's where you're bringing that energy into the situation. So if I'm sitting there, right, and I'm like, well, damn, like, I had somebody like perfect example, right? Whenever I got stabbed, like, I gotta close that energy off because if I don't, I'm gonna dream about it tonight, right? I'm gonna have those feelings and those thoughts and the same type of trauma come back into the end of that portion,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And I can't do that. I have to sit there and tell myself at the end of whenever we get done talking, is be like, listen, it happened. It's not happening now,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Even just telling myself that, just having that clear barrier, that wall right there where
Yeah.
it's like, it's not happening. It's done. It's game over, right? It's not happening now. You're good.
Hmm. Hmm.
That shuts it off, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you start really doing that shit at the same time too, not just decompression from the shit that you're doing here, right? But also having that little moment of like, listen, like, whatever type of energy that came from talking about this, you're not welcome. I
Hmm.
really think you're going to see a difference because at that point, you're shutting that barrier.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
And you're
Because even
put.
if you're just yeah, even if you're just decompressing, it's not really shutting the barrier. You're just shutting your
Mhm.
mind off to it, right?
Yeah.
Because you're coming back down from the hype of like, oh shit, got another good podcast in and all that, right? But
Hmm.
what you're not doing is you're not closing that barrier.
Hmm. Hmm. And you never
So
fully switch. Like since doing the podcast, it's on my mind all the time. Like
yeah,
what am I doing next?
yeah,
It's always there, and I love it. So
it's it's addiction.
it is, man.
Yeah.
It's addictive. What am I doing next? I'm always thinking of the next episode, and and who I'm talking to, and it's always. Even when I'm trying to relax and just watch
Oh
Yellowstone and
yeah.
chill out, I'm still thinking about the podcast. So yeah, I'm never really switching it off. You're right, but yeah, man, yeah. Something I'll have to think about is actually because intent's important with everything as well. Like and that intent that you have.
Yep.
So that is going forward something we're gonna have to think about, brother. So since we last spoke as well, I know you've had some other paranormal experiences.
Yeah.
Can we get into that as well? Because
Absolutely.
we're nearly an hour in and we've not even touched that.
Man. So there's been a handful of things. Like I know one thing that happened recently was, you know, so one thing I love to do. I love hammocking in the woods. Like I'm definitely I'll pack out and everything. I'll go out and hammock. That's my go-to thing I love to do is I
Hmm.
love to hammock. So I'm out in the woods probably 3 or 4 days ago, and I'm deep, and I'm back in the area where I saw the light rod at, right? And I'm back there, and everything just goes quiet, like quiet, quiet, and I mean quiet, quiet, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, like it's quieter than it is, and it's quiet as shit back there. You know what I mean? And it's quieter than that. And I'm like, something's back here, and I just get this weird feeling of like peaceful calm, like you should fall asleep right now type deal, right? And it was hard to fight trying to not fall asleep. And I'm like, I don't know. That's it's weird vibes. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna pack my shit up and get out of here. Cause it's those moments where it makes you wonder, like, is this the time whenever people disappear type shit?
Hmm.
Is whenever they just fall like they're like, you know what? I'll go ahead and fall asleep. It's so comfortable out. You know what I mean?
Was this during the day or at night?
Oh yeah, during the day. Middle of the day. Yeah. And I'm not a tired guy.
Yeah.
I can run off of 2 hours of sleep and work a 14-hour shift and be perfectly fine. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Hmm.
So whenever that happened, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it because it's like I'm not a tired person. I don't get tired easy at all,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
whatsoever. So whenever that happened, it was just like, what the fuck? Like it doesn't make sense. So I got out of there, and the moment I got out of the woods, once I hit the barrier, the wall between that and prairie grass, I was like, yeah, I don't feel tired anymore. I don't feel tired at all. But this is also the same area too, like I told you about whenever did I tell you about the time I got lost back there?
I think so. I think
Yeah.
which was strange because you know the land like the back of your hand, but
Well, I was working there at the time.
yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like if I'm working, like I'm doing all this shit and I'm there every day. Like I was there every day and still got lost there, you know? And then I tell you about how I talked to a tribal person about that.
I don't think so, man.
So whenever shortly after that happened, I ended up calling, I forget what tribe they were from and whatnot, but I ended up trying to really like search around, figure out what tribes are in the area along the Sangamon River, which is what runs through that area, right? And I ended up contacting some tribal elders, and I asked them, I was like, does this sound familiar at all or anything like that, right? And they told me, they said, well, we don't know, but we know somebody you can talk to. And I talked to him and whatnot, and he just kind of like, and I'm paraphrasing this obviously, but he kind of told me, he was like, there's weird things that happen in this world, and there's a lot of things that don't make sense. He said, but you're very lucky, right? And it was just like, well, shit, I know I'm lucky because, like, I'm still breathing and shit, especially after the vibe and the energy that was there, because that shit was not good.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that shit was not. I mean, it was literally like I still remember, you know, my mind was telling me like, no, 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 like, come on, like you can come down here, like it's okay, like you can keep on walking down this trail. And my body and my like instincts and everything were telling me like if you go down there like you're not gonna come back. Like you're not gonna come back.
Hmm, hmm.
Now mind you, I'll tell you what, if I went down there and somebody tried to grab me, I'd have shot the shit out of whatever is trying to snatch me up. But you know, like something still told me like if you go down there, you're not coming back. Like it's game over.
And you got to
But you
listen
got
to your gut, man. If your gut's telling you that.
Man, well, and the crazy thing was, and I forgot about this, and I just talked to my brother about this, right? Because I called him that day. I didn't even remember calling him. I did not remember, and I remember calling this motherfucker every time I call him, right? Because we always talk about stupid shit. But I didn't even know I called him. I'd forgotten about it. I called him in the middle of me being lost,
So
and
you was
yeah, I
completely like,
out of it
yeah.
because he told me he was like, yeah, you called me. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, you told me, and he said, I thought it was weird because, we hiked that trail. And I told him, I was like, yeah, like I don't remember calling you at all. He was like, yeah, you called me, and you're like, I'm lost. Like, I don't know where I'm at. And he tried to explain like where it was and everything. And as I'm telling him this shit, right, I started having more memories and like feedback on like what I saw whenever that shit happened. And I think it was even more than what I originally told you, and I didn't even remember what the fuck I originally told you, but I swear it was more because I remember like even the environment changed, right? Like because where this comes in at, right, it's very very, how do I put this, it's grassy, like it's a grassy trail, but there's woods on each side, right? And it's deep in the woods. But where all that grass, like it's like once you get close to like the trailhead, it starts turning like more into mud, right? And it's not really grassy, it's just real kind of muddy and dirt and whatnot. And then it leads into leaves and shit like that, right? I'll have to send you a picture of the trailhead at some point whenever I go out there. But whenever I came up to it, I remember blinking and like after I blinked and after I started looking at it and I really started getting lost, everything changed. Like the environment changed, the grass was all sprouted up and everything. It wasn't muddy and shit anymore. It was really weird, right? And like I said, I've been in the woods my whole life. Like ever since I was a young kid, right? And to see something change like that, like I've had moments where you like turn around and look and it looks a little different from whenever, like, because obviously whenever you're walking into the woods, right? If you turn around and look, it looks different the way you came back because it's not the same view. You know what I mean?
Hmm, hmm.
But whenever you're sitting there and you're looking at a patch of woods that you've seen consistently throughout the time that you've been going there and it just changes on you, that shit's weird as fuck. And I still remember that. Like I literally looked around and everything looked different. And that's how I got lost. Because
So
I'm like, well, what?
it's kind of like I don't know if we said this last time we talked about it, but it's kind of like you walk through some sort of portal or something.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know what the fuck it was, but I'll tell you what, it looked different.
Did the colors change, like the colors of the trees and stuff like that, or
No, it was just like it was a completely different environment.
it was
Like,
it was still a forest but different, just a different layout?
yeah, different layout. Like, picture if like mid-game you changed maps. That's what the fuck it looked like. It was the weirdest shit that I've ever had happen in the woods. Besides, like, I shouldn't even say the weirdest shit because at this point I had so much
There's been
weird
a
shit
lot.
happen, man. But it was one of the weirdest things that have ever happened to me
Was
in the
it was
woods.
it would it could it be possibly that you were walking through and you kind of blanked out but you carried on walking? So you're not thinking but you're
No,
no?
no way. No
I'm
way.
just trying to think of possibilities, but
Yeah, yeah, no, no, and that's the thing is like look, after it happened, I ran through so many fucking like, because look, I think I've been lost in the woods twice in my entire life, right? And that patch of woods is not even that big. That's like maybe 300, 400 acres, maybe a little bit bigger, maybe a little bit smaller, right? But it's not that big. I've walked in Shawnee, Shawnee National Forest is huge. Like, I mean, fucking massive. Like, hold on. Matter of fact, let me see how big fucking Shawnee National Forest is. Because it's every bit of it's more than 1,000 acres. Let me see here. Because I still like the fact that I've been able to walk in there. As a kid, I was walking in there and nothing ever happened. Let me see here.
Hmm.
Shawnee. Yeah, because I didn't even think about this until we started talking about this. So Shawnee National Forest.
This
Let's
is
see.
what's good about these conversations. Sometimes
Man,
you see it a little different. Someone will nudge you and say, "Could it be this?" And you're like, "You know what? Yeah, it could be." You
so
know?
look, Shawnee National Forest, the area size, right, is 498,000 acres of land, right? I used to walk in that as a kid at like 10, 12, 13 years old. I'd walk out there barefoot. I'd be on my own in the woods walking out there. You know what I mean? So, and to think that I never got lost out there, but then I get lost in, you know, a few hundred acres
Yeah, it's
and
weird,
not
man.
and not even in all of it, just in a specific portion that I've hiked multiple times.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah, it's
weird.
weird. It is weird. It is strange when these things happen, man. And we know that there's something going on as well. And that goes back to what we were saying about that knowing. You know that something's not right. You know that there's a change in the air. And it is weird, man. This stuff is weird. So what happened the other day when you was in the forest and had that weird moment? Has anything else like that happened in the recent weeks? 'Cause I know you're out in the forest most days. Has anything
Yeah.
else like that happened?
Not really, honestly. Like not really. It's just been more of like because I was just out there yeah, yesterday. I was out there hammocking and whatnot, right?
Hmm.
But nothing happened then. It's just real peaceful and whatnot. But it's so strange, right? It's almost like the forest has moods and whatnot. Sorry, I thought I saw something in that hallway.
Yeah.
But but like the the forest has moods. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's like it's alive. I mean, how many times you been in the woods and it feels like the woods are alive? You know what I
Hmm.
mean? But they are,
They are alive.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I swear they have moods, So like at that point, whenever I was out there yesterday, and I didn't see shit, I didn't feel shit. It was just beautiful, right? Beautiful bright sunny day with a cool breeze coming through. And it I don't know. Like there's some days I'll be back there and it'll feel weird as hell. I mean weird, right? Weird. But there's other days where I'll be back there and it feels normal as shit. Just feels like,
Mhm.
there's another day in the woods,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But down there, and I don't know if I ever told you about this. I think I might have. Like I said, we've talked so many times at this point that it's just kind of all comes together. But there's a there's a huge ass rock that's down there. It's a giant granite rock, and I mean this thing has to be, I mean every bit of like 4 or 5 tons. It's big as shit, but it feels like one of those places where like people definitely came to that rock for more than just like oh yeah, that's the rock, right? Like,
Mhm.
it feels like Native Americans might have come there, or, even like early settlers and whatnot might have come there to that rock just to, it just the energy around that. And I know granite already holds, energy anyways, but the energy that's there, it's just very, very strange, right?
Mhm.
And it's not even 150 yards, 200 yards from where I was hammocking at, right? So I don't know, but down there too, it's like a time capsule, right? Because there's like I remember my brother and I, we found cars down there. We found 1950s refrigerators down there and whatnot. Because it's on an old farm property. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Mhm.
And then the farmers, they like back in the day, they sold it to the conservation district. So whenever you have that happen, right? Back then the farmers just dump all their shit out. You have all sorts of shit back there. You know, you have 1930s Coca-Cola refrigerators and shit. You have cars, you have, regular refrigerators, AC units,
Hmm.
old toilets and whatnot, right? There's all sorts of
Man,
shit back there. Yeah. And
it
the
sounds good.
energy.
What's that show called? The American Pickers.
Oh, American, look, I'll tell you what, you
They
can
need to
find
go
some
down there.
crazy shit down there. You know what I mean? But it's so crazy because it's like all that energy has to be crazy down there.
Hmm.
There's like, and it's like my brothers and I, we were down there the other day talking about this shit. And I was smoking a cigar on a log, just kind of looking around, and I was like, think about how old these trees are down here, right? Because there's huge oak trees down there. I mean, fucking massive, like every bit of, 200, 300, 400-year-old oak trees down there, right? There's massive, and you're just thinking about it, and we're all talking about it, and we're like sitting there, and it's like, think about all the shit these trees have seen.
Yeah,
All the
man.
people that walked by them, all the people that just sat underneath them, right? People that, talked on them, like climbed them and shit, right? All the energy that's there. And then
Hmm.
you think about the rest of the land and everything that's there, and it's just it's unbelievable to think about all
Yeah.
the shit that could be there.
Yeah, man, for sure, for sure. It's like I've got a castle just down the road from me,
Oh yeah.
which is over 1,000 years old, Corfe
Shoo.
Castle, and it's beautiful, man. It's like it's a bit demolished now through
Oh yeah.
history. It's had a lot of wars, and you can see that it's not standing how it once was, but it's still there, and you can still feel that energy there. And
Yeah.
I go there quite a lot, and you touch the walls. And you think, man, you think how many people have touched this wall over the 1,000 years and the things that it's seen. Uh,
Yeah.
I love that, man. I love that. And
Well,
I do think things hold the history.
oh, absolutely.
100%.
Well, you think about residual hauntings. You know what I mean? Like residual hauntings are nothing but energy that's just stored there.
Hmm.
At least that's what obviously we know it as, right?
Yeah.
It could be anything because, like I told you earlier, I don't know what the fuck most of this shit is. We're all guesstimating.
We're trying to work it out. Yeah.
Exactly, right? So, but that's the thing though, is it's like with a residual haunting, it's, the repeated action of energy that once was, right? So if I'm sitting there and I'm consistently walking through the same fucking door for the next 40 years, right? If I die, that energy might still be there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because guess what? You know, I was doing it for 40 fucking years.
Yeah.
So obviously the energy's trapped. It's the same reason so it's the same thing as like my theory for ghosts, right? Is that if you've lived on this earth, obviously for your entire life, or if you have something catastrophic happen, right? The energy is still there. Even if your soul's gone, your energy's still there.
Hmm.
It's the same reason why you ever taken, you know, like you ever had your phone connected to a charger, right? And you pull the plug out of the wall, but it still says that it's on charge for like a couple of seconds and then it stops, right?
Hmm.
Now picture that couple of seconds, but times like 40 years, and that's what energy is for a human,
Hmm.
at least in my opinion, right? So
Interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
because if you have that, right? If you have energy that's consistently fucking there, doing shit for 40 plus, 80 plus, sometimes 90 years, right? You're gonna have it left over because energy never dies. So
Hmm.
even if you die, your energy is still there.
Hmm.
Every
Yeah.
place you touched, every place you've impacted, especially the fucking homes you lived in, all that energy is still there. So if you're dead and gone, that energy's still there. And even if energy, because it's the same thing, right? A battery doesn't know it's a battery. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
A battery just works, right? So if you have the energy of somebody who was once around and is no longer there, even if their soul's somewhere else, their energy still might be able to interact with you the same way that they once would have because it's still their energy.
Hmm.
You see what I mean? So if I fucking died, right? So let's say that like I was haunting your house, hypothetically, right? If I was haunting your house and my energy was there for the past, you know, 80 years of me alive, and then all of a sudden I die, right? You buy the house, and all of a sudden now you're talking to me. I'm gone. I'm up in heaven or wherever the fuck, right? But the thing is, though, is that the energy that was there for me,
could still be there and still interact with you because it's still energy from what once was. It still
Mhm.
works the same, you know? Because
Yeah.
what's allowing me to do this? Energy, right? What's allowing me to do this? Energy. What's allowing me to speak? Energy that I have within me. So, and it's just the soul that allows me to be able to go there or wherever, right? So, with that in mind, whenever you think about it, right? How would the energy that's there not be able to continue to move forward and speak to you, talk to you, interact with you the same way that the energy once was?
Hmm. Hmm.
Even if my soul's gone, the energy's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my theory. That's like the one thing I'll put, like I'll
Mhm.
stamp that right there.
Yeah.
That
You got it
that's
figured
probably
out, brother.
yeah. Like and even then I might be wrong too, but we're all gonna find out someday.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
but yeah, but that's my thing. So whenever I'm out in the woods and whatnot and I see these things happen and it's like I don't know. I don't know what the hell it is, but that explain a lot of it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That's the most logical thing that my mind can think of is that because, it makes sense mathematically to think that like, okay, well, if energy never dies and energy is there in a consistent place for 40 to 80 years, well, how else does it make sense? You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting, man. It's an interesting theory. Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know if we're ever going to get these answers, but we're
We're
having
we're
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 we're having fun trying.
right. We'll probably look, but that's what makes it fun, right? That's what
Yeah.
makes looking for all this shit interesting,
Hmm.
and that's
100%.
and that's why
Yeah.
we keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure, man. What's the next step for you, brother? What's the plans? And you don't have to tell us, but if, what are you thinking in the near future? What's
Just in
coming
life, in life in general,
in life in general with the paranormal, with
m-
looking for Bigfoot,
man.
with all that?
So I'm finishing up the last little bit on that project that I told you about, where I want to get everybody involved in the paranormal, like
Yes.
in regards to Sasquatch. I'm
Hmm.
getting the last little bit of that finished up right now, right? And with the new, career path that I'm looking to get into, I really think that extra money is going to allow me to be able to put extra resources into making that happen
Hmm.
to the fullest extent, right? Because it's one of those projects that I don't want to half-ass, right? So if I have the ability to be able to, do it to the fullest extent to where everybody's going to be able to look at this and be like, you know what? Like it is like that's the most accurate depiction, right? That's what I want.
Hmm.
So we're getting close on that aspect, right?
Let's go.
So there's that, and then obviously with the new career path and everything, with to anybody that doesn't know, which is everybody at this point, right? I'm getting my CDL and I'm about to start doing truck driving just because money's great.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
So, and it's going to give me the opportunity to be able to be in a lot of different places and see the world. So, yeah, I just I think with the cash flow that's going to be coming in from that, I'm going to be able to put the money towards getting that project done.
Awesome, brother. Awesome, man.
Oh yeah,
Very exciting. Very exciting, man. I've got to say, brother, you're looking good. I know you've it's been a wild couple of months
man.
for you, but you're looking awesome and full of good energy and very
As
exciting for
always.
the things that are coming. So very exciting times ahead, my brother.
Absolutely.
Man. And we're still moving to New England and we're still gonna have a cabin in the woods and
Man,
hunt
let's
for
get
Bigfoot and
it.
podcast and that's the goal, brother.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, and that's the other thing too. I will say that I'm planning on buying land in New England this year.
Hmm.
I'm going to be putting a down payment down on hopefully over 100 acres of land. So,
Woo!
oh yeah,
Let's go. Well, exciting times, my brother. And yeah, thank you so much for coming back on and
of
and giving
course.
us a recap of everything that's going on. And yeah, we're looking forward to the next one, man.
As
Can you
always,
tell the listeners where they can find you?
look, you can find me. See, look, I keep on talking about this shit, and I need to do something. My life
Well,
is so
you've had a
busy.
wild couple of months, so
Man,
you got a
I've had a
reason. You
wild
got.
couple of years. So y'all can find me on the Mysterious Outdoors podcast on Instagram, or if you want to follow my personal Instagram, I'm pretty sure it's just Saka Souffle. So, but y'all can follow me on either one of those.
Am I following that
And
one? I don't even know if I
I
am.
don't know. I don't know. You might or might not. I'll send it to you after the show. You
Yeah.
can put it in the comments and whatnot. And if you want to follow my TikTok, I do share basically it's like poems that I've written or that other people have written or quotes, but I post those on videos of me hiking in the woods. So if you want to just, how do I put this? If you want to experience the woods without having to be in the woods, but you want to see the woods, follow my TikTok.
Yes. Yes,
So
sir.
but
Awesome, brother.
I'll go ahead and send you that so you can post that into the links and all
Yeah,
that.
I'll add that in the show description. Awesome, man. Awesome, brother. Well, we've gone all over the place tonight, man, but it's been a fun conversation as always.
Hey, as
And
always, brother.
always a pleasure, my man. Keep up the great work. Exciting times ahead. And yeah, just keep being a legend, brother. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man. You too, Tommy. Love as always, brother.
Love you, brother. Love
Love
you,
you too,
man.
man.
Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, make sure you share it where you can. That is a great way to support the show. And we will be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Bye for
Yes,
now. Thank you very much, brother. God bless.
absolutely. God bless you too, brother.